And welcome back to Smooth Talk. Today I have an awesome guest, Mr. Cameron Lee. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Cameron, from California originally, now living here in Missouri. And I'm a wrestling fan.
Hell yeah, brother. Me too. And I think that's why we became such good friends. You came in the store, you were wearing, I think, a Roman Reigns t-shirt,
Yes,
which
bloodline shirt, yes.
I may have had a few words for, but it was really awesome. I've been a wrestling enthusiast since probably 13, going through the Attitude Era. How about you? When did you get into wrestling?
For me, ruthless aggression there, around like 2004 is like my earliest wrestling memory. WrestleMania 20, actually, seeing John Cena versus Big Show, Undertaker returning versus Kane, and of course, triple threat match in the show, Shawn Michaels, Benoit, Triple H.
And who was your favorite wrestler during around that time period?
Around that time, being a kid, of course, John Cena, but besides him, Jeff Hardy was a big one for me.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Jeff, it's kind of crazy. He's still around even now. And, I think his first WrestleMania was 16.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the teens. So
yeah, because I think that's when they had the first triple
TLC ladder or TLC match.
Yes. And man, did those boys elevate the sport.
Oh my, they tore it up. They put tag team wrestling on the map at that time.
Now, if you had to go to those other two tag teams with like Christian and Edge or the Dougies, who were your favorite out of those groups?
Have to be. Wow, it's kind of hard. Tag team wrestling, you would definitely have to go to Dudley Boys just because longevity, stuff like that. But talent wise, overall, definitely Edge and Christian. Of course, growing up watching Edge, the Radar Superstar, stuff like that. Grew up watching Christian too. Him and Tonka were a little team for a while, and then watched him in TNA. So of course, Edge and Christian.
Yeah, it's amazing to me just like I said, the longevity of a lot of these guys, and what makes it hilarious is we've talked a lot, so some of the stuff we might have already said, but it's one of those where I was a big Ric Flair fan. I loved him, dirtiest player in the game. I'm probably gonna kind of go back to him over and over and over. But it's one of those where when I watched him, he was kind of in the twilight of his career where it was still just he was helping younger talent or the big guy at the time. And I always enjoyed him, but I was always sad I didn't get to see him in his prime. And I think a lot of people now that see like Jeff, Christian, Edge, even though they're not seeing him in their prime, they enjoy him and they kind of feel the same way.
Oh no, definitely so. So I actually seen Jeff Hardy for the first time in person last year. Drove to OKC for it. Man, after the show, great experience. All your childhood memories, are are just all right there. Being able to see him wrestle, just amazing. Childhood memories.
Every time I watch Jeff Hardy live, he lost every time, and he was one of my favorites too. And it always killed me every time I had to watch him live. Now, that being said, how many events have you been to?
Ooh, wow. I actually was looking back earlier this week. My first one I ever went to was a live event, and it was back in 2015, I think it was 2015, 2016. My first, it was a live house show, stuff like that. And then, the last couple of years, moving here in Missouri, right in the middle of the country, so I was able, to go to different shows. So last year, I went to about 6 to 7 shows, I think it was. Nice. I went to 3 of the big 4, which is Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania.
And the fourth one would have been Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah. Unfortunately, wasn't able to go. And then this year, went to Mania in Los Angeles, and in a couple months, I'm planning to go in Detroit.
All right. You got me, you got me a question in my head, but I'll get to it when the time's right. I just got to write it down so I don't forget. So, on top of everything else, on those live events, like, did you ever see something that you just absolutely loved at like a live event? So the difference is, for people that don't know, when we hear about Raw, SmackDown, if you're talking AEW, Rampage, those are their TV shows. But a lot of people don't know is that these wrestlers, they're out on the road doing 4 to 5 matches a week, sometimes more. I mean, talking again with Ric Flair, I know he was just on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about doing over 400 matches in a year.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So yeah, like you're saying, they'll go to smaller cities, stuff like that. For example, they come to Missouri, they'll do their big shows in KC, St. Louis, but then they'll go out to like Springfield for a show, stuff like that. With those shows, in my opinion, they're the best shows to go to. The wrestlers can actually express themselves because they can be a little bit more different, stuff like that. 'Cause they're not in front of a camera the whole entire time. So you may see, for example, someone like Roman Reigns and stuff like that, laughing, joking around, stuff like that. When on TV, he's just completely serious the whole entire time.
You know, at one live event I went to with my dad, uh, one of the best memories I've ever had in wrestling was at a part nobody will ever see. You know what I mean? And it was with Mark Henry. Now, Mark Henry was actually one of the world's strongest men at one point. He competed in strongman, and he won the Arnold Classic as the strongest person. I think actually to this day in Raw competition, his big three, bench squat and deadlift, plus power clean and jerk press, nobody has matched. If you do all 5 of those lifts, to this day, nobody has matched him.
Yeah, I definitely did not know that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, a lot of these guys, are athletes from different sports, different professions, stuff like that, and they're able to transfer, over. It's crazy.
Well, at that event, he was wrestling Jimmy Yang Wang. It was what we call a squash match. So you know that Mark's going to win it, but it's just one of those points where they're trying to get the crowd to boo a little bit. So when the next face comes out, the next good guy, that they're really hyped up for it. And Jimmy Yang Wang was the Asian cowboy, and he his finisher was always this big backflip or moonsault, as we call it, off the top rope. And so it's one of those where at the beginning of the match he runs and he tries to clothesline Mark Henry and just it's like him hitting a wall, and Mark's just like, no sir, and it's just one of those beautiful matches of the small guy versus the little guy. But at the end of the match, he gets up. At the end of the match, Jimmy Wang Yang gets up on the turnbuckle and he goes for his moonsault. As he flips, he comes up short. I am not lying when I say that Mark Henry, the at one time world's strongest man, reached out and grabbed him by the thigh and the ribs, stopped a 200-pound man in motion off a top rope, midair, held him there for a second, was like, I got you, and put him on his shoulder to finish the spot. But literally just in front of him. It was the most miraculous feat of strength I had seen in person ever.
Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy. A lot of these people think, oh, well, wrestling's fake, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, these are athletes. Like, these guys are strong, they're built. Yeah, it's scripted, but it's crazy what these guys can do.
Well, that's where the term, I think, trained professional.
Mm-hmm.
Trained professional. If you think you can go in there and do something like that and just have it figured out overnight, good luck.
Yeah, no, it's like it's not something anyone can just pop in there and do. I remember we talked about before about you training for wrestling, taking chops and stuff like that, for example.
Yeah. So the chop story is like the way that happened is we'd had 4 guys kind of in a square circle of death, and we would chop each other until our chest bleed, until you get them calluses on them chests. And then when you got tired with one hand, you'd go to the next person and you'd use your next hand. And I mean, it sounds brutal at first, but here's the thing. That's the sacrifice you're willing to make to entertain people when the time comes. And the other thing is, it's like, man, these are your friends. I mean, I get on TV, there's a lot of the kayfabe. And I think that we're going to get into that about how kayfabe kind of needs to come back. But in the non-lit rooms and the non-camera rooms, how those guys, they care about each other. If he really didn't like Jimmy, he would have just let him fall on a mat that has 2x12s underneath it.
Yeah, no, on the mat thing, people don't understand. They think, oh yeah, it's just a big trampoline, stuff like that. It's definitely not. No, you have a small layer of padding, and then you said the 2x4 is under it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
You when you fall on that mat, excuse me, you are gonna feel it tomorrow and probably the day after. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, you definitely have to harden up. I mean, you're going to get hard. You're going to get a little denser. The other thing I don't think people realize is running the ropes.
Oh yeah, no. From what I heard, those will definitely leave marks on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's not like I said. Being a wrestler, you see it on TV, you think it's just the easiest thing. Oh, I can hop in there and do that. I will pay anyone to hop in there, and just do it. Just go and train for a week and see how you feel. See if you can do this. 52 weeks out of the year.
Well, a lot of times in their first, when you're training in the beginning, you're going to have maybe 3 classes a week. And once those classes are over, especially in your first week or two, or when you get to that point of running ropes, oh, you want that recovery. I just had marks on my back, And again, it'll callus up. Eventually, you can't even notice it. But it's one of those where it's like, oh, yeah. It's basically just like a big old, really tight bungee cord. But it is.
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, and a lot of these guys, they want it since they were a kid. That pain, it's what they want. They know that the pain is going to get them to where they need to be and where they want to be.
Now, let's talk a little bit about AEW and some of their talents. Who's your favorite guy over there?
Got to be Kenny Omega. Come on, I mean, one of the best in the world. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, MJF is definitely a close second over there, but yeah, no, Kenny Omega definitely.
I love it. My man Taylor's behind the mic, so he's just throwing out his input a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm a huge Kenny Omega fan. Now, if you could, would you ever try to go to Japan to watch over there for some of their stuff?
Oh my God, I would love to. Like I said, if I had the opportunity, I would love to. The only thing that's kind of sucks, if you ever watch Japan stuff, you would know that the fans over there are quiet throughout the whole entire show. So it's definitely a different experience from going from like something like WrestleMania, 80,000 people screaming, stuff like that. If you go into a Tokyo Dome with about 100,000 people, all quiet for most of the match.
Yeah, and the thing about them being quiet, a lot of that is just out of pure respect for the wrestlers. They want to show that they're intrigued in their craft and that they appreciate it, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that they're not in it. They clap when there is those big, big runs,
big spots, moments that get them, that get them off their feet,
Yeah, I also like the fact that they use I don't know what they're called, but it's like the confetti rolls. Like they shower, it's like how they shower praise. They still do flowers.
The prestiginess of it.
Yeah, it's very traditional in that aspect. I sometimes wish WWE would do that every now and then, or AEW. I know the beautiful thing about AEW and the thing that I've absolutely loved about Tony Khan is he's starting to introduce a lot more of the foreign wrestlers with Forbidden Door and bringing them in. So you can see this group of wrestlers versus this group of wrestlers that in most companies you wouldn't see.
Yeah, no, I think Forbidden Door is honestly the best thing for pro wrestling right now. I feel like this is what, the older fans wanted back in the day between WCW and WWE. We got the Invasion.
But it was already bought.
Yeah, and at that time, too, you got to look at all the top WCW guys were gone. Where was Sting during the Invasion? Where was, Goldberg? But now with Forbidden Door AEW, you get the top guys in New Japan and some of the top guys here in the States to all go, back and forth. Give great matches. I remember this year, we had Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. Great match. Great match. I mean, any match Will Ospreay in is usually great, but... Yeah,
I mean, he's definitely, as far as out of the two promotions of WWE and AEW, he's definitely the hottest agent on the market, especially when Jay White finally did sign with AEW. But that was actually pretty awesome. That I think he needs to be in New Japan though. I think that Will Ospreay needs to be in Japan because again, it's like you're just waiting for him to come because you get those dream matches, and then when they finally make a jump or they switch or they swap, you're just so excited for it.
Yeah, no, and like being a big Will Ospreay fan, I can say this right now. If he goes somewhere like WWE, which I would love to see, right? I don't think he can put on the high quality matches he's putting on New Japan. I think he's either one or two with the most 5-star matches of all time.
Yeah.
So it's like if he came somewhere like WWE, I don't think that'll happen where they go from a 30-minute match to a 10, 15-minute match.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, okay? So here's another debate we kind of had, and it's all in friendly. You know what I mean? So you have made the point of overusage of moves.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me a rundown on that.
Yeah, basically any AEW, or not even any, basically all AEW match, if you watch them, you will see these guys do, crazy moves, stuff like that. And, for a WWE show, stuff like that, that's like their finisher, stuff like that. But you have these guys doing these moves in AEW, and it's like, oh, cool, yeah, it's a great move. We all get excited, but it's a 2 count. Mm-hmm. I feel like moves like that should be protected, make them even like a finisher.
Yeah, and I know Taylor would make the argument if he was here. It's like, that's why it's called All Elite. It's because they're going to use it. That's why they call them All Elite. My thing is, I like the idea of a lot of moves myself. Now, like I've said to you before, it's like, I think they should protect certain moves. I'll be honest with you, I don't like that the pedigree is getting used. I know Taylor doesn't like that either by multiple people. I think that we know that was always Triple H's move. And it's like, look, if now that he is officially retired and somebody wants to use it, okay. But there are some moves that I feel like need to be protected. But on the other side of that, I feel like you have such a big plethora of moves, and I don't want to see the limitation.
No, I definitely get that, right? But I feel like finishers should be protected. Nowadays, think about like all Roman's matches or Brock matches, right? When they fight each other, oh, we need 3 F5s, 3 spears, right?
Yeah.
I don't like that. There's only a few moves nowadays that are actually protected. Surprisingly, the end of days, Baron Corbin. I don't know if you know about that, but only one person actually kicked out of that move.
Really?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre last year at Mania was the first and only person.
And he is, Baron Corbin's actually from Kansas City, right?
KC, yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, on top of that, the One-Winged Angel. Oh, it's very protected. That's a beautiful move. But I do know what you mean. The move that we both have moves. I know that we can make this an example of. Mine's the spear.
Overused.
It's like, look, Goldberg was great at it, and I think there was Edge used it. And to be fair, they were in different companies, so it worked. But then it was like, then you had Goldberg, Edge, Batista, Bobby Lashley, Roman,
used it.
Charlotte. It was just like, guys, it's like you're killing that move. Like
super kick is a big one. Shawn Michaels, that was his move, stuff like that. Now you have the Usos doing it every match. You have the Young Bucks doing it every match. What happened to this being a finisher?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that sometimes the significant power behind it goes away when everybody's doing it. Shawn Michaels, I mean, it's one of those where when he took a kick and he just made it the most lethal thing in the world. And the best example is WrestleMania 22, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. Okay?
21, I believe.
Oh, 21. 21. You're right. 21. You're right.
Yeah,
sorry. Nope, that's all right. 21. And they were going back and forth, and Kurt just couldn't put him away. And I just remember that, like, he was like, "Why won't you die?" And he had him standing, just shaking his head, And then you just see, like Shawn pushes him almost about as much separation as us, and just throws his leg up and hits him. And I mean, I thought he won. Like that, the moment, it was so quick. It was so fast. And then he did the spin around where he'd fall down on his back on top of him.
I still find it crazy that match didn't get 5 stars.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a good match.
Maybe because Dave Meltzer, is not the biggest WB fans, it seems like. But yeah, that match should have definitely been,
Well, he liked NXT.
I mean, he loves NXT. He loves anything non-WB too. But if you look at like the 5-star rating matches, go look who got like the last 10 of them. It's either gonna be New Japan or AEW. Mind you, kind of somewhat WB. I think got one with Gunther in it recently. But besides that, it's always other companies.
The other super kick I can remember was Adam Cole and Ricochet in NXT. He did the same thing where he did the backflip in mid backflip when his head's. I mean, Adam Cole just
timing.
Or the Shelton Benjamin.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, Sean's timing on that, Cole's timing on that. It's just crazy being able to time it so good and protect your opponent the whole entire time.
And that's what I mean. But you believe in that kick. You believe. And then when you see the overusage. So I do know where you're coming from. But I think that the plethora of moves, again, that are out there, we want to see them. I want to see them used more than just once or twice every, month, So I enjoy some of it. But some of them do need protected. Some of them need less usage for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched EC3. Remember his company, Control Your Narrative? Well, he banned, I think, 2 moves. I can't remember what the second one was, but I remember the first one was the suicide dive through the ropes. He said, no, it's overused. Everyone uses that move. We're not doing it, which I feel like it's a good thing. Everyone does not need to do the same exact move, right?
Well, when's the last time you saw like a good baseball slide kick?
Never anymore. That's like the old school wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I liked. I always loved that when they, like Jeff would come through and then he would go through the first rope. He'd go on top of the first rope and hit it. And then he'd come back up and then he'd jump over the top. That's the stuff I want. Creativity, Now, let's talk a little bit about MJF. Okay? Now,
yeah, MJF. I mean, best heel in pro wrestling right now. Best heel probably almost all time. So that's a bold statement, but what he can do, on TV and off of TV, keeping kayfabe alive, one of the best heels of all time.
Okay, so for people that don't know, explain kayfabe. Give them a rundown.
Wow, kayfabe basically, making wrestling real, per se. What happens, you're keeping your character in the ring and outside the ring. So if you're a bad guy in the ring, when you're in public, you're still going to be that bad guy. You don't ever break character. That's what used to be back in the day, but then recently in the past, I don't know how many years, a couple decades now, kayfabe's just been out the window.
And to be fair to the wrestlers, technology has a part in that. It's hard to keep a character all the time when all the time there's a camera roll.
Yeah, look at the reason why kayfabe really got broken up. It was the curtain call. Some random person in the crowd had a video recorder, and he recorded Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and the Outsiders all hugging. But mind you, 2 of those guys in there were good guys, 2 were bad guys,
and 2 of them were leaving.
So yeah, 2 of them got they had no repercussions because they left the company. The other 2, one of them had to face a hard time because, he was a younger guy, and the other guy was top of the company, so they couldn't really do nothing to him.
So out of the 4, we all know Hunter was the one that
paid for it in the long run.
I think that, though, because of the people around him, that's probably the only reason it wasn't probably worse,
Oh, definitely not. I mean, I feel like in that era, I feel like he got real lucky. I feel like if you're in today's era, you do something like that, if kayfabe was still alive, I think you get released nowadays.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, like we were saying about MJF, he keeps kayfabe. And I think
all the time.
And I think, so when I talk about my favorite wrestlers, I'm a heel lover. A heel is a bad guy, a face is a good guy. I love the heels because you can't have Superman without your villains. That's just the motto I go by. So I think that a good heel is what makes your face. That being said, when I look at somebody like MJF, he has all the qualities of a heel that there should be. He insults the crowd. Even if they love him, he's going to make a smart.
I don't know if you remember a couple months ago, his hometown, stuff like that. He came out as the biggest, baby face.
Oh, biggest.
Just to turn on the crowd 2 minutes into it. Like, it's amazing what he can do.
And then he He's selfish as far as his character. But you know what I love about it? It's all about the belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the belt. He wears the belt everywhere he goes, as far as like when he's in that ring or if he's on the ramp or something. When he got that belt, it was this bread and butter, and he's like, it's mine. I think when you're a bad guy, that's what makes you a good bad guy. Because even though you're kind of a piece of crap, it's like it means so much to you to have this. This is everything, and that's what promotes it. That's why when you lose it, the face seems so great because he finally got it. He finally got the big one, you know, and that's the things I think that we're missing in today's wrestling. I think it's coming back a little bit. I think they're doing it the wrong way with the long title runs. With the,
you know, I'm a Roman fan, so I'm definitely gonna disagree with you on that. But
I just feel like you can make. Look at Gunther, so the reigning Intercontinental title holder. It's like to him, without that belt, I feel like his stock goes down.
oh, that's a bold statement. Just because you know how Walter or Gunther, whatever you want to call him, how good he is. So that's a bold statement. You say he needs the champion. I think he can be great with or without the champion, but I think he definitely needs. I mean, in the future, he definitely needs a world champion, though.
Oh, I agree, but
I don't think he needs the belt for it.
But it's like that. You take the belt off of him. I think I'm not saying it's a lot. I'm just saying loses 5%. And that's how it should be, though, because he's made that belt great.
Oh, yeah, no. Whoever beats him definitely is going to be a future world champion if they're not already a future world champion or already a former champion. Because, I mean, the run he's on right now, probably one of the greatest IC runs of all time.
I agree. I like that he's physical. He has a good character. He's willing to actually wrestle.
Yeah, he's willing to, to change, too. That's the one thing, too. But on the wrestling thing, I mean, hey, when you're the GOAT, so it doesn't really matter.
But you get what I'm saying. Because to be fair, MJF, he doesn't wrestle all the time either. To be fair.
That's the one thing I hate the most, right? People give Roman, stuff for being a part-timer, right? What is MJF? I mean, yeah,
but he is there though every week, and I think that he brings a lot to the table, and I'm sure Roman does too.
I mean, before WrestleMania last year, that's what Roman was. He was there still every week, but people still consider him a part-timer. Now like Triple H said, he only does a few shows per year, which that's in his contract. Which when you're the head of the table, head of WWE, of course it's going to be like that. So, don't worry, I would love to see Roman fight a lot more. But I understand, come on, you want to keep, him healthy. I mean, you have guys, for example, Seth Rollins a couple years ago who worked the house shows, live shows like we were talking about, and got hurt. You don't need your top guy, the face of WWE getting hurt.
Yeah, and I mean, with age and everything else, it does play a factor. But, okay, all right. Let's change gears again here. Tell me a little bit about your belts here.
Yes, sir. I'm, a belt collector like Kenny Omega. So, I got a couple of belts here. I actually got a couple of them at WrestleMania this weekend. But my favorite right now, of course, is my Patrick Star spinner belt.
Patrick Star. Can you spin it for the camera? Can you give us a spin for it? Ooh! You know what I mean?
Yeah, so little shout out to my boy Tim Vick with To the Extreme belt. He actually did this belt right here. Him and one of his boys with the leather strap on it. They restoned it, stuff like that, and basically my prized possession right now in my collection.
Yeah, and I love it. I do. I understand how cool custom belts are, but for me,
the white IC.
Oh, the white. I always thought white leather was just a treat. Was just the best look that you can get, and I'm sure you got to keep them clean.
Yeah, no. On the replicas, the white, the the teal, one of the Winged Eagles, worst belts to keep, clean. Like they just attract dirt and everything to them. And I take these belts to events every year. So, usually when I go to the big events, I take about 4 belts there each. And each event actually has been different belts every time. So letting people, pick them up, grab them, take pictures, which I don't mind that. I like sharing the experience, but they attract so much to them. plate scratches, stuff like that, which is kind of negative about it. But I love seeing the smiles on people's faces, from the kids to the adults, being able to hold these, take pictures with them, stuff like that.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about wrestling. I'm going to take what you said there, is that I've always said, when people say, "Why do you like wrestling?" This, that, and the other. And I said it's the men's soap opera. It's just, and it's not just men's. It's a child soap opera too.
Oh yeah,
because Bailey, she loved it as a
love the
child.
kids.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them. Have you look at it back? A lot of this, like I remember watching One Night Stand recently. You see a young Kevin Owens in the crowd. You go back to ever and see a young Sasha Banks in the crowd, a young Roxanne Perez, who was former NXT champion or women's champion, excuse me, in the crowd. That's crazy. These people were super young, and that's what they love.
Yeah, and so when it comes to that, people, if you've never been to one of these events, you should just go. Let your inner child out and have fun. Again, we know that it is scripted per se, but it doesn't mean that these people aren't putting their bodies out there on the line for you and aren't trying to give you a great performance. And kids love it. I loved it. When me and Taylor went to SmackDown in Kansas City, the best part about the whole event for me was that I had probably 12, 13-year-old, right, Taylor? Yeah, about 12, 13-year-old, still passionate. Life hasn't had to come at him yet. And he just wanted to cheer. And then on Taylor's side, we had some girls, and they were, they were older, but they're into it. They're letting it out. And, so when the kid cheered for somebody, me and Taylor were both just like, because he was really shy at first. He was just, and we're like, no, man, hold up your sign. Let's go. And we screamed, and that kid had the time of his life. And to me, that was just the best part of that night, was to see a young fan just enjoy himself in the moment and not have to, again, get caught up in all the crap of the world today.
Yeah, no, definitely so. Like, let me get back to that real quick. Like, but for me, the same way. It was like wrestling, no matter how bad life got, it was always there. Mm-hmm. I can always look forward to seeing it on Monday or Friday or Monday or Tuesday, whenever SmackDown was on at that time. It was always there. And the experience about a little kid, WrestleMania last year, some little kid next to me, stuff like that. He had the absolute best time there. He was, "Oh, did you see that move? Did you see that move?" Just getting super happy about it the whole time, giving high fives, stuff like that. Like, seeing them get happy. Like, I wish I could experience it as a child. Now I'm an adult, still get the experience, but I know younger me would have absolutely even loved it even more.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil that kid's time, and even the best part is that them ladies that were on the other side of Taylor, like, they had their favorites. I think there was maybe like a Charlotte Flair came out and she was playing a heel, and I don't know. Let's just say it's probably going to be the wrong person, but let's just say Becky Lynch was out. And he's like, "Let's go, Becky," and then those girls would be like, "Oh, Charlotte, you got it, girl. Like, don't listen to him." And I mean, he get all riled up. It was the best thing ever.
Same thing actually happened to me this year. Was with one of my boys. We were out there, stuff like that. Roman fan here, Tribal Chief. He was going for Cody. The whole match. "Oh, let's go, Cody." I was like, "Bro, come on. Cody's not gonna get it." After the event, I'm throwing shade at everyone. Like, "Hey, where all Cody's fans at? Y'all quiet now." Yeah.
But it's all in good fun.
Definitely so.
Because they know there's going to be a payoff. They're going to get the ticket eventually.
I mean, Cody's winning next year. You can mark my word. Cody's getting that belt next year.
So what is your favorite event?
Oh, favorite event
Now let's take WrestleMania out of the equation. What is your favorite event? Not that you went to necessarily, just in general.
Event.
Yeah, yearly event.
There's two.
Okay.
Of course, Money in the Bank, always a great experience. Someone's going to win that briefcase, and they have a high chance to become world champions. So when you see them win, it's like, oh, cool.
So explain Money in the Bank. Explain to the people.
So back in 2006, Chris Jericho came up with the idea, basically a briefcase, with a contract inside, and once you win the briefcase, you can cash in at any time, anywhere, for up to a year. So that's when it came to the thing. So when you had the briefcase, it was like, cool, you're the next world champion. Do we know when it's going to happen? No, but it's going to be within a year.
And there's been very notable winners.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think that who was the first one? I know Rod Van Dam won one.
Yeah, no, first one was Edge. He cashed in at New Year's Revolution against Cena after the Elimination Chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best one all time was oh my gosh, I can't forget about it. The Heist of the Century. Seth Rollins cashing in the main event WrestleMania. Amazing moment.
Okay. So for me, okay. Well, what was your second?
Oh, Royal Rumble.
Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Rumble. I think
same concept. You're gonna get your ticket.
Yeah, Royal Rumble. 30 men, 30 women. Over the top rope battle royal. Competitors every 90 seconds. The winner headline are supposed to headline WrestleMania. Just because the surprises every single year. That's why I like it.
You know which one I loved that I would just love to see today? Because I think Rod Van Dam is so underrated.
One night stand?
One night stand. But not the cheesy ones. I'm talking the old school one. And that small venue, holds maybe what? How many people you think?
Oh my gosh, what? 2,500, even that?
Yeah, it's not a big it's not a big house. But it's that bingo hall is what they call it. The old bingo hall, And that, to me, I think that the reason that event's so cool is because those are some real wrestling fans there. It's just like paying homage to the stone cold hardcore fans. And I think they need an event every now and then where it's like, yes.
So one thing I would disagree. I don't think that event should ever be brought back. The reason being, hear me out. You keep that with ECW. Don't try to re-up the brand. A lot of these guys, you try to bring them back. They're all, no offense, old, washed, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, that event overall, like if the ECW guys were still, young and can still do it, I would love just one more go around.
Well, that event, by God, the main event. Oof. To be John, it was
which
John.
One you talk about?
It was John Cena versus RVD,
yeah.
And it was for that title. And you're talking, RVD was an ECW original, so the fans, the hardcore fans, they're there for him. They would riot. They were going to riot.
Yeah, no, that iconic sign in there. If Cena wins, we riot.
And it's like, I think they would have.
I honestly think they would have too.
Because he took. If people haven't ever watched that match, just look it up. Look up. Cena throws his shirt to the audience.
They tossed it back multiple times, mind you. At this time, John Cena is the face of the company. There's no guy bigger than this. This is the Hulk Hogan. This is the Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. This is the guy. You go to any other show, they're going to cheering him.
They're taking that shirt home. They're taking pictures. But at this event,
they hated him.
He threw it out 3 or 4 times, and one guy literally, made a gesture with it, to say the least, and then threw it back.
Yeah, no, crazy thing I love. So you play the wrestling games, right?
Oh, so, yeah. The No Mercy on the N64, please. Somebody try me.
Well, the newer one is 2K23 this year, right? They did the Cena showcase mode. They did the opposite this year where, instead of being the guy in the showcase mode, you're his opponent. One of the matches was that match. And they had an Easter egg in it where, Cena wins the match. He's not supposed to, right? And it was this cool little Easter egg where he gets on the turnbuckle and the ref's like, no, you need to go. Which I think if he actually did win it, I think something similar like that was going to happen. Those fans were not going to leave there happy if Rob Van Dam did not win that match. It sucks though what that reign happened. He was supposed to have a lengthy reign, but people being people, stuff happened, and sadly got cut short.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I'm glad that he actually got it for one run. It didn't have to be long. He just had to hold it.
Yeah, he was one of those guys where he needed that one run. There's a lot of guys in the company that need that one title and they never get it. So I'm glad,
yeah, especially him, because he was part of that company, for a long, long time and underappreciated in a lot of ways. But that being said, I think, what is your definition of a perfect wrestler? Who do you think is the perfect wrestler? And you know my answer, and we might agree.
Roman Reigns. No. Perfect wrestler. Wow. I don't think I've ever said this. I'm gonna switch up a little bit. Undertaker. Reason being, hear me out.
Okay. No, that's it. It's not a bad answer.
Yeah, though, great in the ring, right? Promo skills were good. Had a great character. Was able to change his character up when he knew the dead man wasn't working. And then we knew when that was getting stale, well, I can switch up again.
He went back.
Yeah.
He went back, and it was good.
Longevity is there.
Mm-hmm.
Accomplishments are there. He had it all. I know you definitely have a different answer, but
no, but that's actually a really good answer. I mean, to be fair, I mean he had a good entrance, different storyline. Oh, it was long. It was long, but that's just part of it, you know. And you're right because he wrestled from the '90s up to just recent too. I mean, mine's Jericho, Chris Jericho, and it's not bashing Taker because I know Taker's done a lot of this similar stuff too. But for me, I always like the fact that he started in Canada. He was one of the last students of Stu Hart, Bret Hart's father. And then on top of that, which if you're in that dungeon,
the Hart Dungeon, so many great wrestlers came out of there. Of course, wrestlers still coming out of them now, but like you said, not under Stu Hart, anything like that. But
but that being said, he goes to Mexico, does Libre, does amazing. Had gone to Japan a little bit, but ends up in ECW, ends up in WCW, Cruiserweight.
And just so people know, this is in the 90s.
Yeah, this is 90s.
90s.
And turns around, then makes it to the WWE, and was voted most underrated wrestler, I think, in '99, just to skyrocket. And then had a plateau. He got the belts, had a little plateau where he was like a mid-carder, but did his thing.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, a 9-time Intercontinental Champion.
Crazy.
And then he turns around, reinvents himself yet again, comes back, becomes one of the best heels of the business, Wrestler of the Year 2009. And then, when he goes out, he does the perfect heel thing. When we're talking about them heels and how they're supposed to act, he lost to Cena. Cena was always his kryptonite. Everybody knows it. And it's like when he lost and he had to leave the company, he's getting carried out by security. He's crying. He's like, I won't go. I'm not leaving. It's like putting the other guy over to the extent,
Yeah, and I don't think, like I said, the reason I brought up the whole, 90 things is he's still going. Still going. He's been through characters. He's been through, the Painmaker.
And, the Painmaker with Kenny Omega, which we're going to give credit to Kenny Omega too. But it's one of those where when he left WWE to go be a part of AEW, he was the inaugural champion, which they needed. But he was a big enough name to make that work. But he did go to New Japan, and he won the Intercontinental title over there.
Yeah, and he's been
a 5-star. Or was it?
I think it was High Force.
High Force. I know his match with Kenny was a 5-star.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not. I mean, if it's Kenny Omega Japan, I'm not surprised.
Not surprised. I mean, that man was putting out. He has the only 7-star match with Okada.
Yeah, 7. Oh
yeah.
I mean, hopefully, if everything works right, we can see another 7-star with him and Ospreay. I think for that to happen, Ospreay has to win.
Yeah, no doubt. He's going to give up that belt to Ospreay. Okay, so let's have a little fun. We're going to do a little speed round for the folks, okay? So we're going to go with favorite wrestler. Give me your top 3, current.
Current, easy. I'll start from 3 to 1. Ospreay, no, excuse me. Omega, Ospreay. I mean, the GOAT right now.
I'm going to go. I know Chris Jericho's around. He's my favorite of all time, okay? But I know he's in the twilight of his career. We all know this, but he's always going to be, in that special spot. But if we're talking, current, I'm going to go with top 3. I know my first one's going to be Kenny. I love Kenny. My second one's going to be MJF. And my third one, it's going to be a little out there that a lot of people may not have thought of, but I always kind of come back to him, and it's Kevin Owens.
I was thinking someone like him. I thought you were going to say Chad Gable.
I thought
you were going to say
Owens
is a great pick. He's been doing it for a long time, too. I was actually happy, you picked a WWE guy because it seemed like you leaned AEW
look,
there.
It's just something about, but it's not surprising to me that I love Kevin Owens for the fact that, again, I like these guys that have been in multiple promotions, and I get staying true to where you're at and everything. And he's been in WWE for a long time, but I like those guys that have kind of like they're scrappy. They've been around. They know what it's like. They had to eat them ramen noodle packs,
Working for Ring of Honor, yeah. I mean, Kevin Steele, he came up from the bottom. It wasn't, him being no offense, someone like Roman or the Usos, where they have
kind of
their family, being able to bring them up. He had to fight, tooth and nail to get where he is now.
And that's part of the reason I like MJF, and that's kind of the reason I like Kenny, because it's kind of the same thing. Now, I think for MJF, for him to be great, to be the GOAT, he's going to have to go to WWE. It's different for Kenny. Kenny has already proven himself in so many ways. He's got so many, again, when you get a 7-star match, go talk to Kenny. Good luck. You know what I mean? That's almost impossible. That's considered the best match of all time.
No, let me ask you this. When do you feel like he needs to go over there? Because let's be honest, he's only 24 years old.
26.
26, right? Which is still very, very young in pro wrestling. You have guys right now like Roman. I think Roman's in his 40s, or at least very, very close to 40 right now. Over here, world champion WWE.
I think that he needs to lose and win the belt back at AEW at least once. And then if the WWE knows anything, they're going to put the belts on him as soon as he shows up.
I'll play this. So 2024 is going to be a big year. You're picking him over Ospreay?
As far as?
I mean, who if you're WWE, right? Both of you guys are going to have a high price tag. AEW is going to be going for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you go for?
MJF.
You go for MJF.
And I'm going to tell you why, because you already answered it. Movesets. Ospreay can go to AEW and still put on banger matches and do everything he's capable of. MJF, if you're going to the PG of the WWE, or even, he's got the mic skills. And yes, he'll have to tone it down, but he knows how to work a crowd. And that's going to be more important in their business. And when he does perform, you know what you're getting. It's going to be amazing. But I still think they're going to go after him because the mic skills are everything. That's character.
That's the thing. I feel like if he goes to WWE, he's not getting booed. It's going to be a while. It's going to take a lot for him to get booed.
Oh,
he's going to have to, steal Cody's belt if Cody wins the belt or something. Because if not, from the moment he steps through those doors until whenever they get him to get turned heel somehow, he's going to be a face in our eyes.
I will also say, though, with Offspring, though, that promo that he cut that you sent me.
Oh, my, yes.
Masterpiece.
What was the one before the match or after the match?
I think before.
Yeah.
That one was really...
Talk about COVID, his best friend dying. When, Kenny had the luxury, being able to travel, a couple hours.
Now, again, though, he'd have to tone it down in the WWE. I hope they go back to PG-13 myself. But at least...
With Endeavor's buying them now?
With UFC underneath that banner, I hope.
I definitely think so. It depends. I mean, you want to keep it, your marketing things. Think about you have so many companies that are Susan Yacombe, all that, a Make-A-Wish where, you kind of want to keep it somewhat clean so you don't, mess up those sponsors.
Yeah, well, I think I think you'll have your people like that. Because, as long as you have people like Bianca Belair and they're doing their entrances at WrestleMania, which was such an awesome thing this year.
Did you hear about the girl?
No.
So the main girl in it, sad to say, she lost her mom that same day in the morning, and she still went out there to perform. It's like I said, it's scary up a little bit, but I love what WWE does. Being able to give those kids experiences, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's so I agree. And it's to me, out of the entrances that happened that year, everybody thinks oh, it was probably you remember this one and this one and that one. It's I remember Bianca's because I loved seeing all those happy faces.
John Cena this year, Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. It's cool. So yeah, there needs to be a line, but I think as long as you have those characters, the rest of it can play out as it needs to be. But just keep that. Always have somebody there for that. All right. Next question here. Best wrestler versus favorite wrestler. Now we're talking strict skills. Mine's Kenny. Again, I'm not.
The best
best wrestler versus favorite. So it's actually skill based.
Yeah, I mean Kenny Omega then. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely so. Kenny Omega.
Favorite belt?
Crazy enough to say, right? It was eco-friendly, right? From Monday when we talked, it was eco-friendly. It was. From Monday until now, it's changed.
Oh no!
It has. So my Facebook feed right now, being in a lot of belt groups, stuff like that.
Don't say it.
Has been straight the same belt over and over. The new World Heavyweight Champion looks amazing. Now people are giving it so much hate. Well, why do you have the big logo on it? Blah blah blah. AEW does the same thing. New Japan does the same thing. Everyone has their company brand, but that belt, it mixes the big gold plus their branding. It looks amazing.
Big gold's my favorite belt, so I can't.
I mean,
I can't.
It's like the big gold's little brother. I mean that's the way it looks. It's the big gold's little brother.
Okay, so yeah, I would say Big Gold's my favorite. This belt in particular, the white Intercontinental title, always loved it, and I love that Cody Rhodes brought that one back. I know it looks different now, which I don't mind the new one. The belt that Brock Lesnar, Hogan, the Undisputed title, I actually really liked it too. And to be completely honest with you, I don't like either of the women's titles. I like the original women's title.
So, crazy thing on the women's, off topic, but did you know the strap isn't white?
On the women's?
Yeah, it's not. It's a pearl color.
Huh.
It looks white, but it's not. But I agree with you on that. The women's belts, they look just like the men. I mean, somewhat now with the men, but they look exactly like the men's. Why keep everything the same?
Yeah, I liked it when they had their own look to it. Favorite moves? Let's go.
We talked about. I still cannot think of his name, but the Viking from AAA. He's been on AEW recently. Vikingo, I think his name is.
Okay.
His moveset.
So what's your let's go like this. Favorite finisher. Let's go there.
Oh, Hidden Blade, Will Ospreay. Yeah, I'll say it. Number one, and then of course 2 is gonna be the One-Winged Angel.
One-Winged Angel is probably my favorite. And then off the top rope. I think it's hard for me to say this one, but because they change it. I hate that they change it when they go to different companies. But Pac, the Black Arrow,
Red Arrow, whatever it is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2.
Okay, what do you got?
Montez Ford's Frog Splash.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a one no one talks about. Seth Rollins' Phoenix Sun Splash. He never hits the move, ever. But seeing him start, facing backwards and flips all the way around, laying the opposite side. I don't know if you know what move I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, oh my. Never hits it, but the move looks amazing.
I mean, some people like the 630, but
dangerous move.
So dangerous.
I don't know if you've seen what's his name? He did it, over the top rope on Kenny, missing the apron.
I mean,
by a little bit.
His hair is grazing this, and I mean, I love the Swanton because we both love Jeff and stuff like that. But those, yeah, definitely so. Favorite submission? I know mine.
I'm gonna let you go first. Let me think. No, I got you.
Okay, what you got?
Roman. I feel like when Roman brought it out,
the guillotine.
Yes, it brought a new, weapon to his arsenal. First time he did it was against Braun, and was like, yeah, he can't beat these bigger guys, like he used to. Mm-hmm. So if someone even like Goldberg, stuff like that, he puts him in that chokehold, makes it even look good too.
Story time. I got one for you. Because Taylor's not here, I'm going to go ahead and give him a little. I'm going to tell him you heard this story, but I'm going to tell it to the audience. So way back in the day, when we used to go to school together in 5th grade and up, me and Taylor have known each other that long. There was a library upstairs, and we had her name was Miss Allen, was our library teacher. I remember, and she was a little bit older at the time, and she was one of those where she was a strict older. You know what I mean? And we're just rowdy kids. We're dumb. We're being idiots, and we got a little out of hand that day, and we weren't reading in the library like we should. So she's just like, one more word, detention. And so we're just like, okay, we got to be quiet. So we're scattered on the floor because we are kids, and we're on different sides of the desk and stuff. And Taylor was actually laying away from me. That way we couldn't talk. And, but his foot was right there in front of me. Okay. And I just kind of look at the other guys and I'm like, and they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I grab his ankle and I put him in the ankle lock. Now, poor Taylor had no idea it was coming. Okay, all he knows is that one more word, detention. So I start cranking this thing, and he just silently screaming, just tapping out, just looking at me, flipping me off, like, you son of a... And the other guys are just trying not to laugh out loud. But in memories like that, that's why I love wrestling, because even as a kid, now, it was a dick move by me, but hilarious. And we still laugh about it to this day.
Hilarious.
We still laugh about it. Best mic skills.
I mean, is this even the question?
Is this even a question?
Yeah, no, it's of course what Taylor said. MJF hands down right now. Mic skills. For a non wrestler though, Paul Heyman.
Fair, yeah, fair. You know, we need more of that. I think we need more advocates. Like when we talked about Ric Flair coming out and being ringside trip, sliding him the brass knuckles, sliding him the sledgehammer, or just talking. We need more of those guys in the business.
I think you need them even backstage too. For example, look at Roman. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, his promo skills. Look at him now with Paul Heyman.
Much better.
But look at Brock too. Brock wouldn't even speak half of the time, right? Now he's by himself. He can cut promos. He can do what he wants to do. And I feel like a big factor of that was Paul Heyman, helping them out.
I'm going to throw this out there, too, for anybody that, when we're talking about MJF, you can look up his promos on YouTube. Just brace yourself. Okay.
All right, I'll give you guys a good one. MJF, CM Punk. Look up any promo. I think there's like a YouTube video. It's like a 40-minute video of the whole storyline. Watch that. It's going to have you on your seat. From him, breaking down, crying, just to going back and stabbing this guy in his back. It's phenomenal.
My favorite thing, though, about him, too, a lot of people don't know, it's like his parents were at an event one day, and they had like an indie promotion come over and talk to him, and they're like, yeah, we hate our son. And it was like the parents were like, had a signs like, we hope you lose, and they're in on it.
And he will give his parents hate right back.
He will call them every name in the book, and it's the most beautiful. That's what I say. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that when you talk kayfabe, it's like he told his parents, like, you just got to do it.
Yeah, he likes to keep kayfabe alive. Be a heel in the ring, outside the ring, getting food, whatever. Be that heel.
All right, we got 3 more. Dream match. Now, anybody you want in their prime. We're gonna say prime. Anybody you want, go for it.
Everyone in the Battle Royal. No. I'm serious. No. Can we talk about sport? Give me Okada versus Punk in their prime. I feel like that'll be a great match. Of course, a match that I need to see one more time, hopefully in person. I would love to see this match. Ospreay versus Omega.
I said Kurt Angle versus Omega. I feel like just the style of those two would have been so much fun in their prime. And the funny thing is, it's like, even a guy like Brock, now I know his style of wrestling, but I don't know. A guy like Omega, you can throw him in the ring with anybody. And they say this about Shawn Michaels, and they say this about Kenny Omega. They can dance, and they can make a match with a broom. They can make you believe it was a great match.
Have you ever seen those matches where they with the dolls? You ever seen those matches?
No.
Oh my! Like, these guys are really wrestling with an object and making it look good. It's crazy. And there's, like I said, these guys can literally go in there and wrestle, something fake, and they're gonna make it look like a great match.
Love it. Breakout star of the year.
I'm gonna change up from the last time. Carmelo Hayes. He's already broken out on NXT, just becoming world champion. But I think he can definitely get to the main roster here shortly.
I'm gonna go with the one and it's off. I get it, but that's why I think it's a breakout. I think that they'll find their moment in time. But I'm gonna go with Jack Perry. Now, understand how I said that. Jack Perry. Not Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jack Perry. If he can get away from his gimmick, revamp, maybe go heel, he's going to do great. The Jungle Boy and all that stuff, I feel like that's something you fall back on, You know, like when the Hardys separated, they had to kind of find their own kind of unique individuality, and then when you brought them together, you got the full package again. That's what he needs. He needs to go heel. He needs to go. He needs to get out of the wardrobe that he's in and just put on banger matches. And I think he'll be great. Last question before we have to wrap it up because we are at the cap. You get to make a Survivor Series team. That's the only thing I had to write down early.
Oh.
Give me your best 4-on-4. Well, no, just 4. You pick your 4. I'll pick my 4. If we pick the same ones, it doesn't matter. Just give me your best 4.
All time, right?
All time. Any prime wrestler. You got it.
Okay, let's get the obvious one out there. Roman. Yeah, Roman. Wow. Wow, it's the hard one. Kenny. I'm gonna go crazy one. I can't think of his name, and I feel so bad for forgetting his name. The guy who started New Japan Pro Wrestling. Antonio. I can't think of his name right now, but put him in there. And last, give me my boy Jeff Hardy. You know, I'm not looking for the win. I'm saying overall, I feel like those would be my 4 guys.
I'm going to take Kenny. That's my technical wrestler. I'm going to take a guy like Brock. That's going to be my big guy. Okay? Those 2 alone, we're looking sharp. Now I get 2 more. I'm going to pick Ric Flair. Why? Woo! Woo! Just for the fact that it's like, again, dirtiest player in the game. I feel like even if he gets eliminated, he's the guy that's still going to be out there for some reason. He's going to find his way back out. He's going to get the extra elimination some way. You know, like even when he goes out, he's going to hand the brass knucks off and you know, cause a distraction. He's going to be that guy. And if I had to pick a 4th person, the king of Survivor Series himself. You know who it is?
I have a guess.
Who is it?
I have a couple guesses.
It's the king of Survivor Series. He won, just so you know, when Survivor Series, for the fans that don't know, it's usually 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, and it's elimination, meaning you don't lose just one pinfall. Your team has to completely be eliminated, and sometimes they go back and forth. But the last team standing are the winners. So there is one person that won it 3 years in a row. And he was the sole survivor 3 years in a row.
I have someone in mind, but I want you to say, because I may be wrong on this.
Mr. Randy Orton himself.
Yeah, see, now it's off. I was thinking Bret Hart.
Yeah, Bret's great. I love me Bret Hart.
I was thinking Bret Hart for some reason.
Met Bret. Great guy. You know. That being said, Randy Orton, yeah, he won 3 years in a row. His first one was when he got, I believe, kicked out of Evolution, and Maven was on his team and somebody else, but it was down to him versus Triple H and Edge, and they had the spot where it's like Edge speared Triple H, and then he RKO'd Edge, and then Triple H went for the pedigree, and then he reversed it into another RKO. The other year, it might have actually been the year before that. I think that was 2004. The year before that, it was Austin's team versus Bischoff's team, where Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton were the last 2. Shawn was like 4-on-1, and Shawn got it back down, and then Batista interfered, and Orton won that one. And then the 2005,
that's one where he Undertaker returned, right?
Undertaker returns. He's getting celebrated because he just did the Triple Crown, and Taker comes back. So I would take those 4 guys.
I'm gonna switch up real quick. Take out Jeff. I'm gonna put Bret in there.
Yeah, Bret's great.
Take out Tony or Anthony. I can't think of his name. New Japan founder. Put in Taker. You know, debuted out there. I feel like that's just that's him.
We got a match. Book it. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for joining us here at Smooth Talk. Yeah, we're definitely going to hold that up. We're going to use that. All right, I want to actually thank Taylor for being behind the mic. Hopefully our audio is a little bit better this time. He's definitely been keeping us in check. We want to thank you for bringing your belts, these beautiful things. Give it one more spin. And I think this beautiful thing here, I love it. I think that's a wrap. So we're going to end it the same way we always have. We want to thank you all for joining. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Sedalia Showcase Sedalia with Steve, Forever 10 with Bob and Amy, and Brian from GNC. Also, go check out that new issue of Showcase. We are in there. We want to thank Steve one more time for that. It's awesome. We never thought we'd actually get in something like that, so just goes to show hard work kind of pays off. But we want to thank the fans, and please like and subscribe. Cameron, my man, thank you so much for showing up.
Appreciate you guys for having me.
And we're going to have you again sooner or later. We're going to make it happen. We're going to end it the same way we always do. We're going to point at the camera. Here we go.
Who are you?